Hi everyone, it's Tina with Picture It Profit and Financial Coaching. Today I want to talk to you guys about what it took for my husband and I to pay off our house. There's really four main points that I want to make, and I think that you'll find that these steps, these 4 points, are going to apply to any financial goal that you have. So whether your goal is to pay off your house or pay off your car or, grow your savings to $100,000, whatever your objective is, these points will apply to that. Let me start by calling up a memory. I remember one day walking into my bedroom in our house in Colorado before we moved to Missouri. And in that bedroom, I saw my children had made a fort on my bed, and it was not long after they had made the fort that they wanted to take a nap in that same place. And I remember sitting in the room watching them napping and just feeling so deeply in my heart that I wanted them to never have the fear of not having a roof over their head. The thought that I will pay off my house so that my children will always have the stability of a roof over their head was woven so deep into me. It became a significant motivator for me. And it was my why. And that's the first point I want to make. Whatever your goal is, you have to have a really strong why behind it, because big things are going to require big effort and big consistency. And if you don't have a big why to support that, you very likely might fall off. It took me a little while to start talking about this goal with other people. I started to feel really nervous about it. We had already started paying off our car. As a matter of fact, we were in baby step 2. The car was the last thing left when I had that episode or that moment where I saw my children sleeping in the room, and I knew that I needed to pay off my house next. Actually, I had to convince my husband to get on board with it as well. And luckily, it did not take him long, because by now he had seen the relief that I was feeling with the credit cards being paid off and the furniture being paid off and the car being close to paid off. And so he saw the value in it straight away. But I'm an open book. I tell people all the time about the things that I'm excited about and the goals that I'm working on, because it motivates me, it inspires me, and it keeps me on track. And I cannot begin to describe to you the amount of pushback that I got from people. People that I love and cherish told me it was ridiculous. Your interest rate is so low on the loan. Don't pay it off yet. Everybody has a mortgage payment. There's tax benefits to having a house and having a mortgage. There were so many arguments against it. And so this leads me to the next point, is that I had to be really clear on my reasons. I had to be willing to look at their excuses for not pursuing my goal and counteract each and every one of them and be prepared to answer to them. In the end, I had to also accept that I could say, I just disagree with you and this is what I want. Because there were some people who would listen to all of my reasons for wanting to pay off my house and they still resisted it. And that was fine. That's their choice. That's their decision. But I needed to make sure that their resistance to it didn't dissuade me from my decision. So that would be step number 2. Have your reasons, believe in them, and be able to communicate them. Once the car was paid off and we had already grown our emergency savings to 6 months worth of savings, we started going hard on our mortgage. We were literally making triple mortgage payments, and we had around this time taken a vacation to Germany. But once we made the decision to pay off the house, we had a plan in place, and that plan required triple mortgage payments, which thankfully, without having a car payment, without having other debt payments, we were able to swing. That being said, I had to revisit that plan often. I had to be clear about the plan. I actually rewrote my plan by hand almost every pay period, but at least once a month. I was very focused on revisiting that plan because I understood that while the why was really deep and while I had my reasons for doing it, not being clear about the plan and not letting the plan be dynamic or adjusted for what was going on in our lives at any given moment could have caused me to fall off. I often use this example when I talk to people about diet and exercise. You could have the perfect plan, but if you're not revisiting that plan, if you're not adjusting that plan for when you travel or when you have people visiting or when you have events that you have to attend, right? You need to have a plan that is core and then also nuanced to handle any of the road bumps that come up in life. We had the plan to pay off the house. We knew that we were going to do that, but then my dad died and we started getting these windfalls of money coming in. I was dealing with a lot of grief and I was dealing with a lot of stress. And then we would have something happen like my dad's boat got sold, and then a portion of that money would come to me as part of my inheritance. And my dad's, estate didn't produce a ton of money. It certainly didn't make us rich, but we would get, $5,000 here and then maybe $10,000 there. And then I remember when the house sold, I want to say that ended up producing like a $25,000 payout for my portion of it. And so every time these larger windfalls of money would come in, it was very tempting, right? It was very tempting to be like, I'm sad. I should do something that makes me happy. I should go on a trip. I should buy another handbag. I should make myself feel good by spending money in a way that isn't aligned with my goal, but would feel good in the moment. And I'm not going to BS and say that there wasn't a little bit of that happened, but there was very little of it. Because I was revisiting my goal regularly, when these windfalls of money came in, whether it was a bonus from work or whether it was from something from my dad's estate, I was able to say, okay, a portion of this I can have a little fun with. Maybe I buy a new outfit. A portion of this is going to go toward my kids or toward my household. And then the vast majority of it is going to go toward the house. And that might seem really easy to do when I'm talking about it now retroactively, but at that time when I was dealing with all of the emotions that I was dealing with and also seeing myself drop an extra $20,000 on the house and knowing that we still had 5 years of payments, it was not easy to do. It was very, very hard to do. It was probably some of the hardest decisions that my husband and I ever made. That being said, I look back at it now and I'm so grateful that we were doing all the other steps, right? We were focused on our why. We were living in our why. We were remembering our why. We had our reasons. We had our justifications. We knew how to defend what we wanted to do, because those defenses, while I originally made them to convince other people, they were the same things that I used on myself later to convince myself not to fall off the wagon and blow my inheritance on other things. Then I was revisiting that plan regularly. Every time we made a monster payment, I reworked the plan. It's going to take us 8 years to pay off the house. After this payment, now it's only going to take us 7 years to pay off the house. After this big payment and that bonus payment, now it's only going to take us 3 years to pay off the house. And then this is the big kicker. I had to do it even though I didn't want to in a moment. In life, the biggest things that we accomplish are the things we do even when. It doesn't matter what the even when is. The idea is that I'm going to stick to my plan even when I don't really want to, even when it hurts me to do it, even when I feel like it's a burden. That's how we did it. That's how we paid off our house early. So again, the 4 steps, just in summary, are have your why, know why you're doing it. Have your reasons, be prepared to justify it. Have your plan, know what the steps are, and then do it even when. Use the 3 things above, your why, your reasons, and your plan, to hold you accountable to do it even when you don't want to. If you guys would do me a great favor and like and subscribe to the channel, it would make a big difference for me. I have a goal to grow this channel and I would appreciate any subscriber that I can get. So thank you so much for your time today. I will see you in the next one.